To follow the 2024 campaigns but don't have the time? Then catch the Crusade Channel's Campaign 2024 report with Magdalene Rose every weekday mornings at 7, 9, and 11 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on CrusadeChannel.com. The Veritas Radio Network is guaranteed the right to offend, annoy, agitate, shout, heresy, and entertain.
You should start programming right now.
Kind of like the cultural sewage served up on Bravo or CMT, only it's on 24 hours a day. Except Sundays. When the truth gets you angry and you throw your smartphone, remember, no one is forcing you to listen to the truth on the Veritas Radio Network.
You can't handle the truth!
You're doing that of your own free will. That's what makes this country great and any gay marriage pointless.
That's offensive!
So there isn't much you can do about it, Chowderhead.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Grab a book, take a vow, and conform your mind to reality. Otherwise, you're just another Judas-inspired Karl Marx wannabe, and your children will steal your credit card number to buy tickets to the Miley Cyrus Twerkers Ball.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Are you ready? Let's get it on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
It's good to be back. You know what I told them folks? I said, you all can go to hell. I'm going to Texas.
Alright, let me get these buttons and knobs out of the way. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition here on the Crusade Radio Network. Your talk radio and car giveaway, the way it should be, radio station. Coming to you from the Republic of Texas. I am your most humble of hosts, the Armed Catholic Rick Barrett, bringing you the news of the week. We put a little quota on it. The week does not end until I give you my 2 cents, which is like a half a cent with inflation. Either way, you can join me at any time at crusadechannel.com/chat, which is empty right now. It is like a bar at 2:30 in the morning. Empty. That's fine. I know it's nice weather and everybody's out prancing in the fields and things, as you should be. You should be. And I hope wherever you are across this beautiful union that you are taking me with you, and I'm honored to be with you here on the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way it should be. Yep, that Golden Truth ticket is back, and you should go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. I got a great show for you, as I always do. I bring the goods, as they say. Happy 1st of June. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Happy month of the Sacred Heart of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Nothing else is even close. I mean, I would accept White Boy Summer as a substitute, possibly. But the only correct answer has been and always will be the Sacred Heart of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So welcome to that. That time of year where you are going to be forcefully given things that you absolutely do not want, and you're going to have to just sit back and take it when the most oppressed group in all of oppressed groups anywhere is now celebrated by every multinational corporation for some reason, because they're just so oppressed. Yeah, but it's not gonna be 2 hours of me talking about that, folks, because I don't want to bore you, and it's gross to me as well. So let me tell you what is on the docket for today. We are going to obviously, y'all heard about this little Trump trial thing, probably, right? It's so bad the way people open like that. It's the same thing as like, what is the deal with airplane food? Same thing. Y'all heard about this Trump trial? Obviously you have. And if you haven't, well, guess what? I'm going to talk about it and bring you up to speed. Let me give you my ideas on it and the whole thing of how bad this is going forward. Not for people like you and me. If you're listening to this show, then you already know it's pretty bad, and it's been pretty bad for an actual while. But the average normie, right? Sally the soccer mom and Frank the Frank the football fan, they really don't, or they haven't been paying attention to it because football's been playing and soccer practice has been happening and so forth. But what about the fact that now there's a little bit more realization of how bad this actually is, and how we are careening towards something. I don't know about civil war. I hope not for violence. Anybody who is promoting death, destruction, and violence right now is either a Fed, or B, never left their basement or left their house, or has done any kind of physical exertion, or doesn't have any skin in the game, family, children, or anything like that. And so that is something you need to keep in mind. There's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of idiots, and I will call them idiotas on the right, who are talking about, the end of the republic was May 30th and blah blah blah. A lot of drama being promoted from the right as well as the left. The left is in absolute ecstasy, which is really sad. It's really sad how excited people got that Trump was found guilty. Like, their life has been better. The cadre of white women who have been celebrating Trump's, his conviction, quote unquote, we'll put that in air quotes, his conviction is really is representative of the girls that liked the alpha male like Trump. He is. Like him or not, the guy's an alpha male in the truest sense of the word. They all liked this guy in high school or in college, and he dumped them, and now this is their justice. Because, folks, that's how people think. You got to break it down to the psychology of the average American. And that's just their own basic primal instincts and there's not a lot of deep critical thinking going on. It's their own experiences and what they can relate to it. So like I said, in a couple minutes, we'll actually break that whole thing down. Obviously, the lightning brief is coming up in the bottom of the second hour, the best 15 minutes in all of radio, which, not best, most electrifying. Best is a bit of a push, but the most electrifying 15 minutes in all of radio, I can absolutely guarantee that, with a lightning brief coming up at the bottom of the hour. Listen to this. You got to stick around. You got to stick around for this story that I'm going to talk about in entertainment news at the top of the second hour. This is nuts. This is nuts. So apparently, what we have been saying has actually come true, at least what I have been saying. There is a service being released that claims to be the Netflix of AI. What do I mean? It's a company called Fable. You heard it here first on the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition. It's a company called Fable, which will let viewers create their own shows via AI. Now, I talked about this when OpenAI came out a couple weeks ago or a while back, when they were releasing those 30-second trailers to a minute trailers of just B footage, background footage. Guys, the choose your own adventure is now here. And I know people like you and I will say, well, it's not a huge deal because, it's only 6 minutes long, or it's only this, that, and the other thing, and the graphics are bad, and blah, blah, blah. Guys, this is the beginning. This is the toe in the water. A, and B, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, as you've seen in ticket sales in theaters, they don't go to movies. Combine that with the Apple Vision Pro, all of the things that we've been warning about for the entertainment industry will not exist the way you see it in 5 years. I recommend, if you like movie theaters, you should probably go to one this summer. Pick a movie. I don't care. Go see Furiosa. Go see Garfield. Go see Bad Boy. I'll probably go see the Bad Boys movie because I'm a sucker for those types of films. Go see something in cinema within the next year because those things will be gone by 2029. They will cease to exist. Now, I know people are like, they're not going to totally cease to exist. But the current format that you enjoy where you can go, and remember this. Remember when you and I, right, us older folk, we would just go to the theater on a Friday night and be like, what's playing? And then you would just pick something. Nah, I don't even know what this movie is. Oh, what's this movie about? Oh, it's called Lord of the Rings. I remember that. Remember, I was working when the Lord of the Rings films were coming out. People be walking in and be like, oh, what's that Lord of the Rings movie about? And then they'd read the summary and be like, oh, I'll go check it out. 4.5 hours later, they come out. They're a great movie. Not now. Not now. Gone. All of it is gone. And it will be gone. Now, there's obviously a way to make money from these. So maybe they'll do, maybe we've seen this across this union a little bit. Maybe the return of the drive-in movie theater. Of course, you'd have to have a car, and we all know part of the agenda is to get rid of cars. Oh, I know I said it. It's crazy. Look at what they're doing in California. It makes sense. The drive-in movie theater. The drive-in movie theater, right? Or movie theaters will not be open in the winter. They'll be seasonal. Movie theaters will become Spirit Halloween stores. They'll open up in the summer and they'll open up for Oscar season. But the full-time movie theater experience is done. I mean, they'll be able to make B movies with AI. So you'll maybe get 10 movies a year and they'll be blockbusters. And that's it. The good old independent films, the small films that you find, the little gems that you're like, man, this is a great film. I can't believe people didn't watch this. Those are gone. Kentucky Postman, my first guy in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Daily Wire Blaze listening coworkers are all saying this just sealed Trump's victory in November. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And then, of course, at the end of the show, we do 5+1 firearm news to get you guys all caught up on all the latest news when it comes to the pew-pews. So definitely stick around for that. You're listening to the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition here on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be. This segment of the program is brought to you by the King Dudes Sale Impossibles that are going on right now at shop.mikechurch.com, where you can save up to 90% off of dozens, and I mean dozens, of different products. But it changes, so you got to check it every day. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to go back and get it later. No, you got to do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Shop.mikechurch.com. Check out the King Dudes Sale Impossible, where you can grab all kinds of insane deals at the Founders Trading Post at shop.mikechurch.com. So let's get to it, folks. Criminal conviction of Donald Trump. 34 counts. So I'm going to be jumping between a bunch of different articles here, one from the American Thinker and a bunch from the Federalist. So on the 30th of May, last month, because now is the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, a New York court led by Judge Juan Merchan, who is the embodiment of low T, convicted U.S. President Donald Trump which is it's really crazy because they call him former president. They call him former president. Or they didn't even call him former. They called him Mr. Trump. In the ultimate show of disrespect. Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump this, Mr. Trump that. I mean, a congressperson that serves one term, they're like, oh, former congressperson, blah, blah, blah. And Obama walks into the room, like, oh, President Obama. Even Joey B, when they put him in the ground. Former President Joe Biden. Jimmy Carter's stumbling around somewhere, putting houses together, and they call him former President Jimmy Carter. Nope, Donald Trump, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump. In one of the most insane uses of lawfare that you and I have ever seen, was convicted of 34 felony counts. What are the counts? We don't. What is the felony? We don't know. The underlying charge has never revealed. They're like, oh, it's the hush money trial. Like, yeah, what's the felony? Shut up. Don't tell me. Don't talk to me. That's really what they did. So, in case you missed it on Thursday, Trump was found guilty in New York. And we had American optimism bias. We did. We absolutely did. Especially after the ridiculous testimony of Michael Cohen. Where he's like, yeah, I actually did money laundering. And everybody, even the judge was like, what are you talking about? Shut up. And yet he still said it. He still said it. And people are like, you can't convict Trump. Because here, we have him saying that he did bad stuff. You can't. Nope. Didn't matter. Because I don't know if you ever saw the movie Clue. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Clue is absolutely one of my favorite films of all time. They turned into the final scene. I think it was the second of the 3 endings you could pick. And it was my particular favorite. The one where Miss Scarlet was the killer. Sorry if I'm spoiling a 1984 film for you. But when they go, there was 1 + 2 + 1 + 2 in the revolver. And he's like, no, Miss Scarlet. 1 + 2 + 1 + 1. And they just go back and forth. That's what the judge pretty much did to the jury. Yes, there's 3 felony counts, but 1 + 2 + 1 + 2. And they were like, huh? They just find him guilty on something. And so they did. They found him guilty. And so these 34 counts could lead up to 120 plus years in prison. For a misdemeanor. And as Kentucky Postman 93 in our chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat so accurately put, the immediate response was, oh, well, this just elected Trump. Trump just got elected. Thank you, libs. Thank you, you dumb liberals. I don't know if that's the truth, guys. Now, of course, on the 31st of May, this is from Scanner News, Trump campaign smashes fundraising record after conviction. I think it was $53-ish million that he raised. Which, I mean, that's great. But, you know, that's very short term. Like, his campaign site went down. It was $52.8 million that he raised in 24 hours. Very impressive. And we saw people put the flag upside down. And we saw people saying, I never voted for Trump and I think Trump is bad. But I'm going to vote for him anyway. And Trump came out and he had a long, extensive speech yesterday, which Mike Church covered. And by the way, sorry to Mr. Church. I said I was going to be on with him, but I blew it. I had a conference call at the exact same time. I'm bad with the time zones. If you've listened to this program for any length of time, You know that time zones are kind of a touch and go thing for me. And so being Central and everything East Coast, I missed it. That was my fault. But Trump came out and he had some things to say about, it was I get it. Trump is the kind of guy that doesn't really have that much discipline when it comes to these kinds of things. And it was the first time he could really have a moment to speak. And he went on for 33 minutes. He went out, he did. Speak he did. And he was just trying to get out. For me, it just looked like more of a frustration, which I completely get. By the way, I 100% get the fact that he was frustrated and he just wanted an outlet because he's still under a gag order. He's the leading candidate for the Republican Party. He is the leading vote getter in every single poll that they take, and the guy can't talk. Especially a guy like talk. Looks like putting a gag order on me. I love to do the speaking. And yet, what happened? He was put under this gag order. So I'm gonna let you listen to about maybe 30 seconds to a minute of it, because after there's a while where he kind of just goes off the rails, and just kind of says like, it's a perfect case, and I totally get it because he's just unleashed at this point and he's just frustrated. But here's a little bit of what Trump had to say yesterday on his response to the 34 charges.
These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, and they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape. And they're very much against me saying these things. They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. But make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading.
And you just guys, this is 33 minutes of this, just to kind of give you an idea. And the reason I played it was to give you an idea of the frustration that's in this man's voice. The frustration that's in this man's voice for being put through the ringer. And 73K5 Blazer says in our chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat. Jump in there if you can. The problem is he probably is guilty if using campaign funds to catch and kill is illegal, which remains to be seen. But if he's guilty, they all, in capitals, are guilty of it because they all do it. Exactly. I mean, the fact that Joe Biden's Twitter feed said, nobody's above the law, and everybody went, really, bud? Really? And then he had this creepy press conference after where he mumbled for like 2 minutes. And then somebody asked him this question, hey, he says he's a political prisoner and you're at fault. I kid you not, Joe Biden turns around and does the Joker smile. It is the creepiest thing I've ever seen from an old pedophile. Sorry, did I say that? Oh my goodness, I can't believe I said that. But here's the thing. Everybody's going to run around. Everybody's going to run around and say, oh, first president and the first presidential candidate ever convicted. You cannot vote for this man. No president has ever been a felon, or no president has ever been arrested, or no presidential candidate has ever been a felon or convicted. Well, did you know that Ulysses S. Grant was arrested in 1872 by a black police officer for speeding on his horse and buggy through the streets of D.C.? So he's not even the first president with a record. And also isn't that kind of funny? Let's be real. Grant was probably drunk when he did it. But, that's neither here nor there. What about being a presidential candidate that was convicted? Oh, that belongs to socialist candidate Eugene V. Debs in 1918. This is not the first time. We live in an age where everybody thinks it's the first of this and the first of that and the first of everything. Nothing else happened till 2010. But the lawfare, these 34 counts that have been unleashed on us, is going to be, and I'm going to spend the rest of the segment talking about this, a bad look going forward. And Molly Hemingway of The Federalist says it best.
Contributor and editor-in-chief of The Federalist. Clearly, I think, Molly, Biden is betting on and probably hoping for a guilty verdict here so that he can say that Trump is a felon all the way through until whatever happens in the appellate court. But if Trump is acquitted, what does Biden do?
Well, I think clearly that was the plan. Democrats have lawsuits going in many different places with the hope that you can get a quick and easy conviction and that would affect the election. Mm-hmm. But they thought even the trials would be helping them in the election, and it has not worked out that way. So I wonder if President Biden isn't addressing this partly as a reflection of that. You take Donald Trump, he has like 3 buckets of support. You have the people who just love Donald Trump and everything he did. You have the people who just objectively speaking think that Trump did a better job as president than Biden did. But you have this third bucket, which are people who may not even like Donald Trump that much, but they're so horrified by the lawfare and using courts to go after a political opponent. And as you know, this could be a conviction and a jailing. And they're so horrified by that is also partly why President Biden is having trouble with his reelect. And so maybe he's trying to address that issue.
Molly, thanks for joining us. I want to put your piece in Politico up on the screen.
Yeah, that's fine. We just keep on going. The idea that this lawfare is now being unleashed and the fact that it's hurting Biden is not something they planned for. And of course, people like myself have said for a while, and I agree with John Daniel Davidson of The Federalist, after Trump's convictions, Republicans should do to Democrats what they did to him. Republicans across these United States should be what? Suing or putting Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, anybody who's worked for Obama, they should be going through the political ringer. But the problem is, folks, these articles are too late. We've escalated past this. We've escalated past lawfare. And I don't know where that goes. I don't know where that goes, guys. Is it going to be violent conflicts? I don't know. Does Trump even get on the ballot? I don't know, because his sentencing is going to be a couple days before the Republican convention. Are the Republicans going to use this as a way to get rid of Trump? No, I'm not even talking about the Democrats. I'm talking about the Republicans. Are they going to say, well, we can't have a convicted felon, blah, 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 the old money, all that kind of stuff? How will people, and I know the people on the right, Molly said it as well, oh, well, people are just horrified. And Andrew Wilkow and all these other conservative pundits, oh, Trump just got elected. Do you really? You think Sally the soccer mom and Frank the football fan are paying that much attention? All they're going to hear is Trump's a felon. Trump's a felon, Trump's a felon, Trump's a felon. They don't have time for the rest of it, guys. They don't have time to be on Terminally Online as we do, or to be in the political space as we are. So yesterday, or this week, was a tremendous moment as far as historically speaking. And where do we go from there? I don't know. All right, folks, coming up in the next segment of the program, it's the fastest and the most electrifying 15 minutes in all of radio, talking about the Lightning Brief here on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be.
The Crusade Channel, your news, talk, and parrot talk station. Mike Parrott Talks gets very fired up and even teaches from the middle of America, middays, 11 a.m. noon Eastern on CrusadeChannel.com.
Attention coffee lovers! The Founders Trading Post has done it again. We've actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffees. Try the new Guatemala La Eterna roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at shop.mychurch.com. Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com/King Dude. Hi, it's Mike Church.
And I'm Mike Parrott.
Almost every American school child can tell you what 3 rights are in the Declaration of Independence. That among these are
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But their civics knowledge ends there, and that's a problem. That's why I'm proud to have participated in one effort that I hope addresses this issue, the Covington Compact.
That's right, Mike. You can see the compact at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Strike a blow for New Christendom. Read, sign, and distribute the Covington Compact today at crusadechannel.com/compact.
At the start of the American Revolution, the Founding Fathers had to answer the question of what kind of government they wanted to live under. Today's patriots are asking the same question, and many think that Confederation needs to be rethought for the 21st century. Now, Ben Franklin helped the Patriots' cause with his Join or Die drawing. Well, I've taken that drawing and changed it to Secede or Die and put it beautifully on t-shirts and sweats. Grab a Secede or Die shirt in any size today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Did you know that the Rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today the Rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her Rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
This is Fiorella Nash, and I have a secret for our American listeners. The Founders Trading Post store is home to one of the largest collections of G.K. Chesterton books of any bookstore. From Orthodoxy to What's Wrong with the World, we are your Chesterton Superstore. You can easily shop all our G.K. Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com. And trust me, your intellect and country will thank you.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones. Present. Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SPW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy. And he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
Well, what does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com. The Crusade Channel program you're enjoying will resume in 2 minutes.
In the beginning there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the 6-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man...
25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot. So one more time, shopmikechurch.com.
Your reputation precedes you.
Thank you, sir.
Wasn't a compliment. I'm Admiral Bo Simpson. I'm the air boss. Believe me, no Admiral Bates.
Well, sir, must admit I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick. You two have something in common. Cyclone here was first in his class back in '88.
Actually, sir, I finished second. Just want to manage expectations.
Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder. Thunder, 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 feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, thunder. Kids were laughing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, you beautiful people. This is the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition here on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be. I am your host, the Armed Catholic, Rick Barrett, bringing you the news of the week. Your week hasn't ended until I give you my opinion on it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can join me at any time in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat, CHAT, if you want to be a part of this conversation at any time. It is June 1st, 2024. You know what that means. Time for the month of the Sacred Heart of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to be celebrated. Nothing else. I mean, the only other secondary, that obviously the Sacred Heart of our Lord and Savior triumphs over all. But if you said, White Boy Summer, I would have said, okay, that's fine. But obviously, Sacred Heart takes precedence over that. Anything else? Nope. Not allowed. Not here, ladies and gentlemen. Not here. The fastest 15 minutes in all of radio, the most electrifying 15 minutes in all of radio is coming up in a few moments. However, I'm going to talk about something else first because it just doesn't work that way. Or it does work that way. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get to it, there was the most, I'm trying to phrase, perfect example of immigration and the West's own suicide that has taken place. And it's crazy. It's not crazy, but there's something that happened yesterday. And you won't see it unless you were on X. The police, so an immigrant in Germany. I'm not trying to say a German immigrant because he's not a German immigrant, you know what I mean? He's a dude from another place that kind of just happens to live in Germany. So wait till you hear this entire story. It's hard for me to even give this story justice to how much it demonstrates the suicidal tendencies of the West. So Friday, a man, notice how it's just a man and not a Islamic Muslim, stabbed several people in southwest German city of Mannheim. Right, and it's just absolutely hysterical in the most ironic way, not in a bad way, because people got stabbed and attacked and it's bad. But this Muslim man goes up in broad daylight. Now, we're not, we talked about in London how stuff is happening on, at night and all these other kinds of places. This this Muslim man walks up in broad daylight. He was a 25-year-old from Afghanistan, obviously, so he's of native German heritage, right? Who said he immigrated or went to Germany in 2013 and who reportedly holds a valid residence permit. Oh, well then in that case, Wiener Schnitzel for him. He is obviously more important than people who are second, third, fourth, and fifth generation German. This guy's been here for almost 10 years. And he holds a valid residence permit. CBS, why are you telling me any of this? Oh, because you're trying to soften the blow, I guess? So what happens is there is an anti-Islam protester in Germany. And he's setting up to make a speech about how, Germany is being overrun by immigrants. There's actually a song. I don't know the name of it because I'm kind of stupid. That it's a techno song that's been banned in Germany because it was actually becoming quite popular, called Foreigners Out. So let me give you the rundown on how this takes place. Now I'm trying to build up to the best part because CBS will not talk about any of this. So Michael Sturzenberger was the critic of Islam. Sturzenberger is setting up his little stage area, and all of a sudden a dude with a knife, now this is in the Mannheim Central Market, at 11:45 in the morning. And Strassenberger was participating in the citizens movement Pax Europa, which is like, hey, Europe is for Europeans. So the Muslim, which we don't know the name of him, by the way. We don't know the name of him. We don't know the name of the Islamic 25-year-old jihadist, because this was an act of jihad. He jumps Sturzenberger and starts stabbing him. So he gets on top of him and just starts stabbing him. A fellow of Sturzenberger, a person who's trying to help him, shows up and tries to get the attacker off of him. Like, hey man, stop stabbing my buddy. Who did the police go after? Who did the police go after? The guy who was trying to stop the Muslim from stabbing Sturzenberger. I will repeat that. The police saw a man stabbing another man and said, oh, wait, the guy who's helping him? Yeah, that's the problem. That guy's the problem. And they started pulling off the friend of Sturzenberger only, and this is a twist of fate that is just kind of hysterical. The Islamic migrant, who has a valid residence permit, by the way, gets up, looks at the police officer, and this is all very quick, looks at the police officer who helped him get the other person off of him. The police officer is arresting the other native German, the white native German, for, I don't know, helping the other guy not get attacked. The Muslim comes up, stabs the cop in the neck. Thank you very much for helping me. Stabby stab. That's exactly what happened. And then he got shot by police. The police waited until he attacked one of their own, and then they're like, all right, now we got to do something. So Sturzenberger is in emergency surgery after being stabbed in the face and leg, but the injuries are not life-threatening. We don't know. The police officer got it straight in the neck, so he's in extreme danger, according to the state criminal police. Will anything happen to the German migrant? Nope. To the Islamic migrant? No. He'll probably get a statue put in his honor. Folks, I know I talk about this more in the 5+1, and just like I was talking about last week, you got to carry everywhere. you have to carry everywhere. And you got to be ready to defend yourself at all times now. You have to. That's how this whole thing is playing out, and that's how they wanted it to be. Just another example of cultural integration at its finest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've wanted it, you've needed it, you gonna get it. It's a lightning brief. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the most electrifying 15 minutes in all of radio. That's right, I'm talking about the Barrett Brief Lightning Brief, where I take 10 stories from around the internet. I line these suckers up, and then we go through them point by point by point. I haven't read them. I just looked at the headlines. I don't know anything about them, and I'm going to give you my off-the-cuff opinion. Most of the time, it's off the cuff anyway in the show, but it's even more off the cuff. So it's like super off the cuff. Maybe off the cuff plus. Anyway, let's get to it. First story up from SCNR.com. Joe Manchin leaves the Democratic Party. Joe Manchin registered as an independent and has not said if he plans to caucus with the Democratic Party. He joins 3 other independent senators, Kristen Sinema of Arizona, Angus King of Maine, and Bernie Sanders of Vermont, all, by the way, caucus with the Democrats. Quote, from my first day in public service in 1982, I've always focused on doing what's best for my state and my country in regards to public policy, blah, blah, blah. As Manchin said, I've always been proud of my commitment to common sense, blah, 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 blah. Very interesting. There's rumors that Manchin wants to be the governor of West Virginia, possibly. But the fact of the matter is, West Virginia used to be a blue state. It is now redder than a lobster on a Sunday afternoon in the middle of the summer. We see that with Joe Manchin leaving. Now, the most important part will be, who will he be caucusing with? Because that will tell you where his opinion really lies. Do you care about where these politicians go? I don't, because they're all useless, but it's interesting to know. Next! From Barrons.com. An historic first, Mexicans expected to elect a women president. This is by Daniel Rook of Barrons.com. Millions of Mexicans are expected to vote for their first female presidente in a landmark election on Sunday, which is weird. You know, Catholic Mexico voting on a Sunday. Following a long and sometimes acrimonious race overshadowed by soaring political violence. Political violence in Mexico? That's a shock. In a watershed for a country with a long history of gender discrimination. Way to get that in, Barrons. 2 women have dominated the contest to lead the world's most populous Spanish-speaking country, C. Addressing a cheering crowd of thousands at her closing campaign rally, ruling party candidate Claudia Sheinbaum, very interesting Hispanic name. Oh, I think we can trace her lineage, never mind, and said Mexico was going to, quote-unquote, make history this weekend. Quote, I say to the young women, to all the women of Mexico, colleagues, friends, sisters, daughters, mothers, grandmas, abuelitas, all of you are not alone, she said. Great. I'm glad to see that in the fact that Mexico continues to go downward and is continuing to be run by the cartels. At least you got a woman doing it this time. Gender ideology, isn't it grand? Next! From Breitbart.com, Vermont becomes the first state to force oil companies to pay for quote-unquote climate change. This is by Olivia Rondeau of Breitbart.com. Vermont's Republican governor has allowed the state to become the first to require oil companies to pay for quote-unquote costs associated with climate change without his signature, pushing the law through despite his hesitation about the policy. Good thing they got a Republican governor, right, in Vermont? Yeah, fantastic. Passed by S295, passed by Governor Phil Scott on Thursday, will establish a method to assess the responsibility for greenhouse gas-related costs to any entity that was engaged in extracting fossil fuel or refining crude oil between December 31st, 2019 and January 1st, 2000. The law will create a climate superfund cost recovery program at the Agency of Natural Resources, which will collect the money from the... How much do you bet that oil companies stop doing business in Vermont? You think it's crazy, but if they're going to have to start paying this stuff, hey, get your oil from somebody else. I mean, that's what happened in Venezuela. They tried to nationalize it, and they're all like, see ya. This is just more stupidity by liberals who are just trying to ruin everything because they're too stupid to know anything else. Next! I love that date too. 1995. Okay, so oil didn't exist before 1995? That's a great point, 73K5 Blazer. If you were an oil company until 1990, you're in the clear. Somebody from the oil company lobby was like, yeah, we haven't operated there since 1995, so we're not paying, but you can charge anybody else. And here's a nice big fat check to do that. Anyway, next story from MSN.com. Stephen Williams, because they're sourcing Autoblog. What is the top color for cars in 2024? Well, colorful cars appear to be an endangered species. Grays of various shades, white, black, and gray itself are dominant in the automotive color landscape now, while cars that are deemed to be quote-unquote colorful, blues, reds, orange, and browns, continue to plummet in popularity, according to a recent analysis. The upward shift in the grayscale shades is fairly dynamic, with the survey showing that those innocuous colors combined now have a market share of 78.5%, compared to 60% in 2004. Among these dominant shades, gray made the biggest move up over 20 years, gaining 9.7% in market share. Now listen, folks, the grayification of vehicles is very much like the beigeification of housing and structures. If you notice, like, houses in the 80s and 90s, like your homes, they were unique, they were designed, they were very, they had their own flavor to your house. What's every house look like now? Every house looks like a beige copy of the Magnolia house, right? Beige colors, minimalistic, modern, dull. And that's the problem, is millennials, Gen Zs, they have no creativity anymore. They have no color palette anymore. Everything is dulls, grays, blacks, because they've lost that. All right? Their imagination has been stripped from them via AI and computers and tablets and everything else. They have no concept of imagination. Everything's got to be white, black, gray, or beige. It's all boring, and it's all the absence of creativity, and that's what they want. Next! From UPI.com, retired 4-star Navy Admiral charged in bribery scheme with government contractors by Ethan Wider. A retired U.S. Navy Admiral was arrested on Friday along with 2 business executives on charges related to a bribery scheme involving government contracts. Retired 4-star Admiral Robert Burke, 62, allegedly used his influence to secure a Navy contract for a workforce training company from 2020 to 2022, according to a statement from the Justice Department. Despite the Navy ordering Youngchul Charlie Kim and Megan Messenger, who are the co-CEOs of New York-based city training company called NextJump, not to contact the Admiral, the Admiral. The 3 allegedly met in July 2021 in Washington, D.C. in an effort to renew NextJump's business with the Navy. Here's the thing with that. This guy must have just upset somebody, because this happens all the time. It just depends on how high up the ladder you are. And apparently, this guy's not high up. Next! From Axios.com, Google Cloud error erases $135 billion in pension funds. This is by Hope King at Axios.com. Earlier this month, Google Cloud Platform deleted, I guess somebody just hit the wrong button, an entire customer account, including some backups of UniSuper. Why does this matter? Fortunately for the 135 billion Australian pension fund's 647,000 members, some of UniSuper's backups on Google Cloud servers and elsewhere were salvageable, and the fund was able to recover its data, teaching us all a lesson about having multiple redundancies, or not investing all your money into imaginary funds, the stock market, and all this other stuff. What does David Simpson say? Tangible assets, gold, silver, beans, bullets, bandages, land, stuff that cannot be erased by some idiot at Google who's like, oh, I'm just doing some maintenance. Oh my goodness, there goes $135 billion. It's not my money. Next. From San Francisco Gate.com, cruel behavior. Outrage after Tahoe homeowner kills a young bear. To the disdain of local wildlife advocates, an investigation by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife concluded that a South Lake Tahoe homeowner was acting in self-defense when he shot and killed a young bear on Monday. Wildlife officers were notified around 2:30 p.m. on Memorial Day that a bear was shot by a homeowner on the Pioneer Trail, according to CWWD CDFW spokesperson Peter Tiara. The bear, a juvenile weighing 75 to 85 pounds, allegedly entered the house through a closed door from the backyard. Yeah. The homeowner, quote, the homeowner explained to us that when he realized that the bear was in the house, he tried to scare it out by shouting at him, waving his arms, making noise, trying to make it brunch, and all these other kinds of stuff. Instead of leading, the bear began huffing and advancing towards the man's dog. Oh, that's it. You're coming near my dog? You're getting John Wicked. I don't care, bear. You're getting John Wicked. The man then retrieved a rifle from his bedroom, returning to the living room and shot the bear twice. Bear ran outside after it was shot and attempted to climb a tree, but then died. You know what? Listen, I guess we have an answer to who would you rather have, a bear or a dude in the woods, because the bear died and the man got him. So that's what I'm talking about. And also, don't come after my dog. Seriously. You want to die, bear? That's how you do it. Next. From studyfinds.org. Mediterranean diet leads to a longer life for women. 25-year study reveals. Ladies, if you're looking to add years to your life, and why wouldn't you, it might be time to embrace its Mediterranean diet. Researchers from Brigham and Women's Hospital have found wide-ranging benefits from sticking with this popular diet, including lowering the chances of dying. A groundbreaking study published by JAMA, following over 25,000 women for an impressive 25 years, which is the longest relationship any of these women have ever had, and found that those who stuck closely to eating pattern had a 23% lower risk of dying from any cause. Interesting, the diet seemed to offer even more protection against cancer. What's the secret behind the life-extending meals? Researchers dug deeper about lowering cholesterol. The Mediterranean diet's power lies in its ability to improve a variety of health markers. Inflammation, balances food fats, and enhances insulin, blah, blah, blah. Hey, so is the Mediterranean diet pizza? Is that right? Because if that's the case, then I'm just going to start eating more pizza and be like, hey, the study said the Mediterranean diet keeps me alive. Yeah, not a large pizza from Caesars. Little Caesars, though. But I'll make that argument. Next! From boundingintocomics.com, U.S. government reportedly investing millions of dollars into Ukraine video game industry as part of its effort to counter Russian disinformation and propaganda. According to a new report, the U.S. government has been investing millions and millions of dollars into the Ukrainian video game industry in an effort to help teach the local population how to identify and combat Russian disinformation and propaganda. The insight into the Biden regime's spending habits was first brought to light on May 30th, courtesy of video game news outlets Aftermath. So not only are they spending money on... this is another way that they just launder money. Has anybody ever heard of the Ukraine video game industry? What has this done? This has done nothing except make people rich. I wonder who owns the Ukraine video game company that's getting all this money. I don't know. Pretty much, it probably starts with a J, and his first name and his last name probably starts with a B. Next! And finally, the strangest story of the week, ladies and gentlemen, from NPR.com. Chicago's rat hole is removed after the city determined the sidewalk was damaged. A Chicago sidewalk landmark of some residents affectionately called the Rat Hole was removed Wednesday after city officials determined the section bearing the imprint of an animal was damaged and needed to be replaced. So what they're telling, this thing literally looks like something from a cartoon in the shape of a rat. It's a giant size hole that looks like a rat, and it took the city how long to be like, yeah, that looks like it's broken. That's city government for you in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it. Yeah, we did it. We did it. 15 stories in 10 minutes. I never run out because I am the best, as they say at these things. Anyway, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for this segment of the program. Coming up in the next segment, I'm going to talk to you about how AI is quickly advancing in the realm of entertainment and how your entertainment experience will not be the same in the next 2 to 3 years. You're listening to the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition here in the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be.
The Crusade Channel, talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com.
Attention coffee lovers! Our Capuchin Dark Roast is now in its 6th year as Crusade Channel listeners' favorite coffee. Grab a bag of whole bean or ground, fresh roasted goodness today and take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for all our coffees at shop.mychurch.com.
The Crusade Channel, your news talk and Mike Church Show station. The king of commentary and comedy, the King Dude, rules the airwaves because the airwaves need ruling. Live, 7 to 11 a.m. Eastern on crusadechannel.com.
want you to listen tight. May sound like I'm talking about me, but I'm not. I'm talking about you. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about all people everywhere. When I come down here to Texas, I was looking for something. I didn't know what. It seems like you added up my life, and I'd spent it all either stomping other men or, in some cases, getting stomped. Had me some money and had me some medals. But none of it seemed a lifetime worth the pain of the mother that bore me. It was like I was empty. Well, I'm not empty anymore. That's what's important. To feel useful in this old world. To hit a lick against what's wrong, or to say a word for what's right, even though you get walloped for saying that word. Now, I may sound like a Bible beater yelling up a revival at a river crossing camp meeting, but that don't change the truth none. There's right and there's wrong. You gotta do one or the other. You do the one and you're living. You do the other and you may be walking around, but you're dead as a beaver hat.
Be a dagger or a butter knife. I can kill your dreams and I can save your life. I'm a red flag and a bright blue streak. You're gonna hear me brag if you allow me to speak. A mule is gonna kick, the donkey took a punch. They took me out to dinner, they said I was out to lunch. A pinless hand grenade, I'm right on your parade. Everybody loves me. I'm the uppercut that broke the bottom jaw. I'm down below the radar, but I'm way above the law. I'm full of sanctimonious sacrilege. I'll put out the fire and I'll burn your bridge. I'm the top shelf, I'm the bottom rung. I'm a loose cannon, I'm a son of a gun. I'm the third rail, I'm a coffin nail. Everybody loves me, loves me. Everybody loves me, loves me. Everybody. Pushing all your buttons and I'm pulling your leg. Now press pause, cause I'm a lost cause. But everybody loves me, loves me. Everybody loves me, loves me. Everybody loves me, loves me. Everybody loves me, loves me.
And welcome back to the Bear Brief Weekend Edition here on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be. Coming to you from the Republic of Texas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the Armed Catholic Rick Barrett, bringing you the news of the week, because your weekend doesn't start until I give you my opinion on stuff. All right. I know, catchy. I'm not really, I got to work on the catchy headlines. You know, it is what it is. CrusadeChannel.com/chat, CHAT. If you're a member and you want to be a part of the conversation at any time, you can be. Jump in there, CrusadeChannel.com/chat. If you cannot, and you're just out in your garden, or you're taking a walk, or you're doing some other stuff, thank you for having me hang out with you this wonderful June 1st, the month dedicated to our Lord and Savior and his most sacred heart, the Sacred Heart of Jesus, for the month of June. The only other thing that could be said is White Boy Summer, and that's fine as a secondary celebration because the Sacred Heart trumps all. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. We are literally here in the state of Texas just taking a breath because we have gotten, I know some other guys, some other states have gotten, I know Kentucky got a really bad tornado a while back. I know Iowa, I believe it was Iowa, got a really, really like a monster one. But we, here in Texas, we have just been getting the snot beaten out of us for the last probably since April 9th when the first hailstorm came through that wrecked my roof. That, you know, I fixed and then I've lost my car and all that other stuff. We have just been getting pounded for almost over a month, 2 months now. We're going on 2 months now. We've just been getting pounded with rain, tornadoes. We had two tornadoes. At the Midland Airport yesterday. Just 2 tornadoes popped up there. And tornadoes in East Texas. We've had tornadoes in Houston, in Austin, in DFW. We've had tornadoes everywhere, man. Everywhere. Absolutely crazy. By the way, if I cared about sports, the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals. Okay, that's awesome, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, we have just been, if you can, just, can we pray to get it? And I've never been one to say, can we just get into the summer where it's 100 degrees and no weather for 3 months straight? But can we get to 100 degrees and no weather for 3 months straight? Because I'm kind of tired of wind, rain, hail, everything being thrown at the state of Texas. We are just absolutely getting killed. Oh, I don't have a truck anymore, Alanatius. I am the proud owner of a 2012 Honda Fit, because the Fit is go. But yeah, I laugh. I don't even have the plates for the Fit yet, and I saw the forecast for hail, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. This car's gonna get smoked. I don't even have the plates for it. It's gonna get smoked. But luckily, so far, it hasn't. And even if it does, whatever, I'll just deal with it again. But this has just been so crazy. We haven't had weather like this. The people that have lived here since 2012, in like this section of the state, it has just been absolutely incredible. But the fact of the matter is, it is what it is, and it's just crazy. I don't know how the weather is where you are, but it's just nuts. So that's my update on the weather. But we've been getting absolutely just destroyed. So it is what it is, though, right? You live in Texas, and this is, in a couple weeks it's going to be 100 degrees, nothing with nothing, and that's fine. That's going to be totally fine. But just had to sit back and looking at, talking to my wife, like, has it ever been this bad? At least when we've been here? And I'm not associating it with climate change. It's just the weather, right? The weather outside is weather. So, I don't know. Let me know if you are in the chat room down at crusadechannel.com/chat. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And let's see. This is the entertainment portion of the program, which we have. We are in good shape. So, I got two stories for you. I'm going to talk about one, then the other, obviously, because I can't talk about them both at once. Let me talk about the Hollywood nightmare, or the thing that I have been prepping you. Nobody else has been prepping you the way I have here on the Bear Brief Weekend Edition, even back when I was doing the dailies on the Bear Brief. This idea sorry, I got a little bit of ice there. Apologize. But the idea that AI is going to destroy Hollywood, and that Hollywood, and this is the thing, like Hollywood went on this strike for all this other stuff, and that it was going to be against AI, was going to, the strike was against AI, and blah, 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 blah. And then they released, OpenAI released the B footage about just background shots and all that, and it looks real. It looks real enough that most people can't and wouldn't be able to tell what it is. And so we said that I said, hey guys, AI is coming. And when they released the Apple Vision Pro, I said, this is a bad thing too, because it's gonna keep people in their homes, and the entertainment industry is gonna be completely destroyed. I said that during COVID. I don't know if they still had the tapes about it, but as soon as Mulan was released on streaming, I said, this is the end of the theater experience. People were like, oh, Mulan didn't make money, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter, guys. Proof of concept was there. They could release a film on a streaming platform, and it may not be as commercially viable as going to a theater, but the plan was there. All they had to do was lower costs, and guess how they lower costs? AI is how they do it. I said at the top of the show, if you like theaters, if you have memories of theaters at any point, you should go. You should go to a theater this year. Pick a movie and go. Because within the next 3 years, the theater-going experience will be gone. People will say, well, theaters will never go away completely. I have a feeling that rural theaters, there's two ways this can go. Theaters in red states and less populous areas will disappear. Theaters will be a thing in New York, LA, Chicago, Miami, wherever. But rural towns, nah. Even smaller towns, nah. No need for them. They can't support them. The only way they survive is if they go to a dollar model, the dollar theaters, which is really just, older movies that come out 6 months, 8 months later, and then they just, while they're on DVD, they go to these theaters and they're just $1. The companies don't care anymore. And the theaters don't make any money on the actual movies. They make money on the concessions, but that's what they all do. But the fact of the matter is, the theater experience will be over. And I said that back in COVID. And we're starting to see it more with the Apple Vision, with AI getting better and better, with YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram Shorts becoming the dominant mode of entertainment for an entire generation. We're talking about Gen Z, Gen Alpha. These people don't go to movies, guys. These people don't go to film. You're like, hey, you want to go to the movie? They're like, I can't sit there that long without looking at my phone. And that's not their fault. I know people that go, oh, they're so stupid, blah, blah, blah. Guys, that's how they were trained. You trained them. You train them. Yeah, 73K5 Blazer. Imagine theaters. Yeah, a theater will be nothing more than just like a little quirk at like a Dave & Buster's or something. It's got to have everything else. It's got to have bowling alleys, like you said, bars, everything. You used to just go to a theater. Now you go to an entertainment complex that happens to have a movie theater in it. And that's a big difference, guys. That's a big difference between the two. And we're seeing this generational shift. This generational shift. People do not understand this. And this is what happened this week on May 30th while everybody was freaking out about Trump. You had this company called Fable, and this is from the HollywoodReporter.com. Hollywood Nightmare. New streaming service lets viewers create their own shows using AI. Fable, which is the company, which is the studio behind the viral AI-generated South Park clips, has announced a streaming platform that allows users to create their own content. Now, there's a lot of cope going around, and I say this with as nice a heart as I can. People are like, oh, well, the AI will never be powerful enough to make stories the way humans do. Or people don't want to have to create their own adventures. They want somebody else to do it for them. You and I probably, but this is not for us. This is for Gen Z and Gen Alpha and the generations after that. This isn't for us, guys. You guys are, and the people who are criticizing it don't understand. You're looking at it from your vantage point. You need to look at it from a generational standpoint. So generative artificial intelligence is coming for streaming, with the release of a platform dedicated to AI content that will allow users to create episodes with a prompt in just a couple of words, like a cowboy who finds a dinosaur deep in a cave in New Mexico. That's it, guys. That's it. All these people in Hollywood, all these people, they're out of a job. And people are like, well, the quality's bad and the quality's... Do you see the crap that gets thousands and thousands of hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok? Guys, this is not Oscar-winning film. This is a guy or a girl hastily cutting themselves over an article or something and talking about it. People have accepted a lower standard because that's all they're used to. And also, theaters have not helped themselves with the cadre of garbage that has been released in the post-2020. Films that do well, like Dune and others, have the work put into them. But like the Marvels, Garfield, even Furiosa, the films from last year, Ant-Man, all that stuff, the crap that Warner Brothers has put out for DC, all of these things have shown there's no argument that the theaters can make that the product is better at the theater. They're like, oh, this AI stuff is not very good. Guess what? You're looking, oh, okay, you want to tell me that Thor Love and Thunder has better CG than what AI is putting together, or better production value? Because it doesn't. By the way, this segment of the program is brought to you by Daedalus Tactical. DAEDELUS Tactical.com. DAEDELUS Tactical.com. Makers of fine AR rifles and pistols. I'm looking at my AR pistol right now that Daedalus Tactical made for me. They will also help you out if you are deciding on what to make as far as firearm purchases. That is DaedalusTactical.com. DAEDELUS Tactical.com. Thank you very much to Daedalus Tactical for being sponsors of the Crusade channel. So, this company on Thursday announced Showrunner. That's the name of it. A platform the company says can write, voice, and animate episodes of a show it carries. Under the initial release, users will be able to watch AI-generated series and create their own content, complete with the ability to control the dialogue, characters, shot types, among other controls. The endeavor marks the tech industry's further encroachment into Hollywood as it eyes the exploitation of AI tools embodied in controversy over their potential to streamline production and the possibility they were created using copyrighted materials from creators they could eventually displace. Guys, you're one decade from that not mattering. The movie star is dead. Marvel Cinema destroyed the movie star because people learned about the brand over the movie, over the actor. The only person that transcended that was Robert Downey Jr. because he was the first. It doesn't matter who is in the role anymore. Movie stars do not matter. The only one that kind of does is Tom Cruise at this point, and even his last film struggled. So they're like, oh, they're copywriting. Whatever, dude. All you need is another decade, and then nobody cares about movie stars because they're going to create their own movie stars. They're going to create their own worlds. And they're going to put it into their Apple Vision Pro, and they're going to sit in their Wall-E fat chair and watch stuff all day. Oh, this is slop. Doesn't matter because they're eating slop. They might as well watch slop. The American or the human condition to be better has been extinguished for the majority of Western civilization via COVID and comfort. Chief Executive Edward Sachi said, the vision is to be the Netflix of AI. Maybe you finish all of the episodes of a show you're watching and you click the button to make another episode. You can say what it should be about, or you can let the AI make it for itself. Users will be able to join the waitlist for a free testing version of the platform, which will likely last until the end of the year. The announcement features the unveiling of 10 animated shows of various genres and styles that were mostly made with AI tools outside of some music and transitions. They include Exit Valley, billed as a satire of Silicon Valley, and other shows. Users are encouraged to make their own episodes of the show, the best of which will be included in the catalog of the series when the showrunner is officially launched. The winners will get a lump sum payment, as well as revenue sharing if the show is picked up by a streamer. Sachi says the platform tech allows users to create a series of scenes that can then be stitched together to create full-length episodes. Prompts can range from just a couple of words to over 100. Users will be able to edit the dialogue, shots, flows of scenes, among other things. So, that's it, folks. I know people are like, oh, these are bad. And I said before, oh, well, the AI will never be able to overtake what the human condition can do. And maybe that's right for a little bit. Maybe there'll be some. The theater will never go away. Will it just be in major cities? Probably. Maybe. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is that it's close to the cinema experience being destroyed. It's completely gone. It will be. The theater experience was on life support before this. And now, once X or once somebody else, because remember we talked about the metaverse. So 73K5 Blazer says, when I go to a movie, I could care less who's in it. I just want to be entertained. And that's what they're going to use going forward. Hey, man, you can be entertained and you don't have to worry. Hey, why do I watch the AI movies from Showrunner? Because guess what? The AI films don't lecture me about politics. I just go in and I say I want to watch a cowboy fight Darth Vader, I don't know, on the Titanic. I want to watch a cowboy versus Darth Vader on the Titanic. And I don't got to get lectured to by anybody, by Disney or anybody else. I just watch my stuff. Now, a lot of people are cheering for the downfall. Also, this could lead, if you want to look at it on the positive side, this could lead to more stories out of the Bible being shown, right? Show me the story of Job. I want, right? Welcome to Streamer. What would you like to watch? I want an 8-part series on the story of Job. Now that's in there. You could get every story from the Bible, Old and New Testament, into Streamer. That's there now. And you could control, there's some very genius people, some very, very intelligent people. If you can control the shots, dialogue, all this other kind of stuff, that could work. And probably be better value than than most Christian films now. You'd have better production value than most of the studios out there. You know, talking to Mike Parrott of Parrott Talk when we were at the Crusader Congress, talking about how hard it is to make films and be profitable from films. AI is the way to get those things out there. So could it be totally... It's great because it could destroy the underlying influence that Hollywood has. Right? As long as we participate in it. I'm actually making the argument that we could participate in it. If we can control it, which you never can control it. But if you can get in on it and you can influence it, stories of the Bible, get my good friend Mark Edwards' books, the Mirror series, into it. His books are really good about that. Might not be bad. I know I love cinema. I love good films. But I also understand that Hollywood has shot itself in the foot so much that this is the comeuppance they deserve. All right, folks. That's it for this segment. Coming up, we're going to do 5+1 Gun Talk here on the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be.
The Crusade Channel, talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Justin Redmond, and this is your report from the Bigfoot, UFOs, Rougarou, Ghosts, and Extraterrestrial Research Society, otherwise known as Burgers. NASA's Voyager 1 is once again speaking with ground control. Voyager 1 left our solar system 11 years ago, and until November 2023, the spacecraft sent reliable scientific data about interstellar space back to NASA. On November 14th, 2023, NASA scientists noticed the binary code used to communicate with the ancient spacecraft stopped making sense. So the team forced the satellite to send a full memory readout. The team discovered a corrupted code within Voyager's memory. This code rendered the explorer's engineering and science data unusable. Naturally, NASA can't replace the chip causing the issue, so they beamed the repair to Voyager 1. NASA's engineers radioed the corrected code to another section of Voyager's memory. This code will bypass the faulty chip. The engineers sent the new code on April 18th, and 2 days later, Voyager resumed normal communications again. It'll take NASA several more weeks to complete the repair because it takes around 2 days to send and receive communications from the nearly 50-year-old spacecraft. NASA is optimistic that Voyager 1 and her sister Voyager 2 will continue to transmit interstellar space data for years to come. For the complete Burgers Report, tune into Frightening Tales, Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, here on the Crusade Radio Network.
The Crusade Channel program you're enjoying will resume in 2 minutes.
Hey folks, it's the King Dude for our friends at the Epic Times. Did you know you can catch their new documentary film, The Real Story of January 6th, Part 1, and get your first month for just $1? Here's how to get that deal. Use our subscription link, crusadechannel.com/epic.
The Crusade Channel, your news talk and Mike Church Show station. The king of commentary and comedy, the King Dude, rules the airwaves because the airwaves need ruling. Live, 7 to 11 a.m. Eastern on crusadechannel.com.
Regina, Queen of Heaven undefeated. Salve Regina, crush the devil, leave him bleeding. Glow with the sun and the stars, set apart from the start. Salve Regina, Queen of Heaven undefeated.
My mama don't like you, she likes everyone. No, I don't wanna fight you, I leave that your only son. A soul full of grace, mine only collected crumbs. I guess that's better than the dirt you rain in. All the hate that come out of you bums. Whose side are you on? Him over there or the one who just? The minute you lost to the one who does. She bruised the heel, you the one she crushed. Yeah, you once angelic, that pride pit must hurt you fellas. And when I serve, I heard you jealous. You took your spot where you rebellious. Hey, excuse you fellas, that virtue that you developed infused in the soul, that's why she's zealous. To penetrate grace like a shoot through pellets. Hey, too much powder you won't learn. One look you said I won't serve. On the reason that you fail, I wanna be Lucifer.
Salve Regina, Queen of Heaven undefeated. Salve Regina, crush the devil, leave him bleeding. Glow with the sun and the stars, set apart from the start. Salve Regina, Queen of Heaven undefeated.
All right. Welcome back to the Bear Brief Weekend Edition here on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be. I am your host, the Armed Catholic Rick Bear, bringing you the news of the week and my razor sharp wit and opinion to follow. You can join me at any time. I don't know. It's so razor sharp, I can't even come up with a tagline. Join me at any time on the Crusader Radio Network. CrusadeRadio.com CrusadeChannel.com/chat, CHAT. I know Enoch is going to be on the next Church Doctrine episode. I am very excited for that. I think Enoch needs to be heard by everybody far and wide because he's amazing. He's also a great, he's a great guy. He really is. I know people say that a lot. Enoch is a great guy. I wish we could all be like him because he's just a great dude. I'm honored to call him a buddy of mine and call a friend. And I'm just really proud of the stuff, of the stuff that he's putting out. Because he's really putting his money where his mouth is as far as trying to change culture and going into those areas. So I think it's going to be a really good talk between him and Mike on the next Church Doctrine episode here on the Crusader Radio Network. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our last segment of the week. And that segment is everybody's favorite, at least everybody who likes guns, kind of like me, our 5+1 news report. Hey man, it's only one shot. Relax. Get off the line. Actually, I did that this morning. No, I did a shoot only this morning in Texas. You can take the LTC course online and then go to a physical location to do the shooting proficiency. That's what I do mostly today. Nowadays, so I did a shooting proficiency. Both guys did very good, very happy with that. So anyway, let's get to our 5+1 gun stories of the day, where we talk about all kinds of things. I just try to bring you up to speed on what's happening in the world of firearms, because a lot of stuff does happen. And so, especially with the ATF and Joey B unleashing the ATF on all kinds of innocent civilians and members of this union. So let's take a look at our stories here on the Bear Brief Weekend Edition on the Crusade Radio Network. Talk radio and car giveaways the way they should be. This entire segment, is brought to you by me, The Armed Catholic. You can find me at thearmedcatholic.com. First-class firearm training with a foundation of Catholic tradition, because the two are indeed compatible. Check it out at thearmedcatholic.com. I do all kinds of stuff. I can do firearm training virtually, or come to your home or your parish. If you're in the state of Texas, I can help you do LTC courses, all kinds of stuff. I'm USDCA certified, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about securing your parish. You're talking to you about your men's group and all, whatever the case may be. thearmedcatholic.com. I just had a great talk with a gentleman named Kent. I don't want to give out his last name, but we had a great talk yesterday, actually, and some big things I think I'm going to be moving on with a buddy of mine named Kent that I just talked to. And you know how he reached out to me? He reached out to me at thearmedcatholic.com. Info at thearmedcatholic.com. Check it out. I hope to talk to you soon. Let's get to our first story. Bit of a sad one for the state of Texas. This comes to us from Cam Edwards at BearingArms.com. The establishment ekes out a win in TX23. And that was pretty much it's West Texas. GOP establishment won a victory on Tuesday night, but an incredibly high cost. Incumbent Representative Tony Gonzalez, a supporter of gun control in the Uvalde, the Safer Communities Act, beat his primary challenger, Brandon the AK guy Herrera. Now, if you're big in the YouTube space, Herrera is the AK guy. Pretty good content creator. Really knowledgeable on all things AK, which is useful because I don't shoot AKs and I don't really know much about AKs because I don't really care about them. They're great guns, just not my cup of tea. Kind of the same thing that I feel about, Smith & Wesson. Great gun, I just don't really care. Anyway, so Tony Gonzalez captured just 50.7% of the vote in the Republican primary for Texas' 23rd district. That's fewer than 500 votes that separated the two candidates. And this is the thing about voting, guys. People want to talk about voting, coping, and hoping, and they want to talk about Trump and how everything's going to win. Fewer than 500 votes separated Herrera and Gonzalez. And the district has at least 700,000 people, because that's how it's supposed to be, right? According to the Constitution. 15,000 people voted for Gonzalez, and 14,616 voted for Herrera. Think about that. Imagine losing by less than 500 votes. And if you look at Texas 23, it stretches pretty much all the way from El Paso to some of the eastern parts, right at the edge of hill country. And so that's pretty tough to actually have to deal with. And it should have been a wake-up call for gun owners, because Gonzalez was a huge supporter of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. And that is being used right now to infringe on our God-given rights to keep and bear arms. Now, Gonzalez used legacy media. He went on all the Sunday talk shows, claimed that Herrera was a Nazi and he hated veterans and all these other kinds of things. And he spent $9 million. That's how crazy it is for a seat in Texas. That's how much these guys can't do another job. And they can't do anything else. He spent $9 million, and then Brandon Herrera spent about $1 million. And that $9 million apparently he's bought 429 votes. Of course, this is a big L for Greg Abbott, who supported Gonzalez. It was bad when Matthew McConaughey, all right, he was a supporter of Gonzalez. They didn't want Herrera because Herrera would have been, an independent voice. He would have been a new thinker. And it's kind of sad. This is why people don't run for politics or run in races. Because they're, outside of a guy like Trump who has his own money to kind of fund his operation, Herrera doesn't have the resources to go up against somebody like a Gonzalez. And this is for a seat in West Texas. And they dropped $9 million to keep an independent thinker out. That's why, I appreciate Herrera doing this, but we have to focus. Herrera could do more good starting at the local level, right? Running for a Senate seat or a House Republican seat in Texas and building up his name there and really doing, because there's a lot of anti-gun stuff that's moving through there. But it's a shame, and this is the reason why people don't get into politics, because their name gets smeared and they just it's just almost, you can see why a lot of them don't think it's actually worth it. Next up, from BearingArms.com, again, SCOTUS sides 9-0 with the NRA in a First Amendment case. Of course, we're still waiting for the Rahimi case and the Cargill case, but the justices delivered a significant victory in the National Rifle Association in a First Amendment case on Thursday, a 9-0 ruling. The court concluded that the NRA had raised a plausible claim that the then head of the New York Department of Financial Services had coerced insurance companies regulated by her office to drop their ties to the NRAs in order to punish or suppress their views. Enjoy the rosary. No worries, Patriot 21. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Justice Sonia Sotomayor authored the opinion of the court with Neil Gorsuch and Ketanji Brown Jackson issuing concurring opinions. All 9 of the justices agreed with the Second Circuit Court of Appeals that it was wrong to dismiss the NRA's First Amendment claims, and they sent the NRA v. Vullo back to the appellate court for further review in light of their findings. This isn't a Second Amendment case, but it is huge because the NRA was being punished by another agent of the state of New York, the female New York Department of Financial Services. I did a whole video about this when I was doing the dailies on the Daily Mag Dump, and it's just, it was absolute tyranny to try and suppress the First Amendment rights, which this really isn't a First Amendment right issue, but you know, in the judicial precedent we live in. To have this done. If this was allowed to stand, if Vullo, who was allegedly willing to look the other way, if Lloyd's and other insurance companies had violated their regulations of the state of New York, so long as they cut ties with the NRA. So she was willing to allow them to break the law in other ways as long as they didn't support the NRA. And that's a tit for tat, man. That's not how it goes. She was trying to hurt the NRA, and the fact that this was smacked down by the justices is a nice thing. It's not a Second Amendment thing, which none of this stuff is Second Amendment anyway. It's not a gun-related thing, but not curtailing the freedom of speech of the NRA means that they can't curtail the freedom of speech for FBC, for national gun rights, and others. So, hey, that's kind of a win. All right, next up. From Breitbart.com. A lawsuit from the parents of the Uvalde victims. Call of Duty game makers train adolescents to become gunmen. This is the old video games make mass shooters argument, which I'm not 100% in agreement with, but it's just the anti-gun lobby is using the pain of the Uvalde parents, who should be directing their aim at two agencies, we'll say in this. The Uvalde police and the perpetrator. Those are the people who are responsible for this. The perpetrator for doing it, and the Uvalde police for sitting back and allowing this to happen. This is by AWR Hawkins at Breitbart.com. One of the wrongful death lawsuits that families of the Uvalde elementary school shooting victims filed is that Activision, the makers of Call of Duty, train quote-unquote adolescents to become gunmen. Breitbart News reported that numerous wrongful death lawsuits were filed on May 24th by the families against AR-15 maker Daniel Defense, instant parent company Meta, and Call of Duty maker Activision. So pretty much these attorneys are just milking they're standing on the dead bodies of children to make themselves money and to push political agendas. Shocking, I know. The Associated Press noted that attorney, I think it's Josh Koshkoff, pointed to Daniel Defense, Meta, and Activision saying, quote, "There's a direct line between the conduct of these companies and the Uvalde shooting," which is completely, you cannot make that claim, but whatever. Quote, "This three-headed monster knowingly exposed him to the weapon? No. Conditioned him to see the tool as a tool to solve his problems, and trained him how to use it." This is just anti-gun narrative baloney that is constantly used. Oh, Daniel Defense helped him get the weapon. He had to pass a federal background check. He had to pass a 4473 in order to get the firearm. And by the way, a guy who works part-time at Wendy's can't usually afford a Daniel Defense weapon. I don't want to go any farther down the rabbit hole with that. Just take it as it is. Oh, he worked for a long time. Do you know how long it takes to afford a Daniel Defense rifle? Okay, Daniel Defense rifles are not cheap, ladies and gentlemen. And especially the amount of ammo and the actual weapon itself. Neither one of those things you can do by working 20 hours a week at a Wendy's. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Sorry if you think that, oh, with just some gumption and some time he can afford it. Nah. He can't. It's actually kind of funny right now. The Daniel Defense website's down. Very interesting. They're probably being DDoS attacked. But a Daniel Defense rifle is at minimum $2,000. Minimum. Like a DDM4, $2,100. You think you can make that much money working part-time, making burgers or cleaning out toilets? Okay. If you think you can, I got a oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. But these people will continue to do these kinds of things. These people will continue to stand on dead bodies just like Beto O'Rourke. Oh yeah, we're totally gonna take your guns, bruh. Standing on the bodies of the El Paso victims. All of these people. The Uvalde police are the ultimate party responsible for this happening. Yeah, he bought the firearms. But it has been told, and it has been pointed out, how cowardly these fat, weak, selfish men stood there. And the video proves it. They stood there for over an hour while children were being murdered. Of course, they have the Winnebago Supreme Court case that says that the police have no obligation to protect you. Sorry, E. Michael Jones. The police have no obligation to protect you, and they hid right behind that. They hid right behind that. And they listened to these kids die. They listened to these kids get murdered. And you want to tell me? There you go, 73K5 Blazer. Yeah, it's only $86 a month. For 52 months. So they were like, oh, this kid worked part-time at Wendy's. That's how and he bought 2 of these. He bought 2 of them. Just on his own, by the way. Anyway. We know who the finger points to. But of course, the left will use the bodies of dead children to continue to push their narrative. Because it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the narrative. Next up, also from Breitbart.com. Biden mocked on X after renewing call for assault weapons ban. On Tuesday, Joey B posted to X to renew his promise and call for an assault weapons ban and was mocked viciously in response. He was immediately mocked on X, with one user responding, "It's time for a new president." Another one wrote, "You're advocating for the disarming of citizens while you try to imprison your opponent. You are a fascist." Another one said, "Shall not be infringed," and so forth. Folks, they want you disarmed, and they want you dependent on them. You have a God-given right to keep and bear arms, and it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter what E. Michael Jones says, because E. Michael Jones came out this week, and I should have done this week's. Maybe I'll do it next week. On E. Michael Jones saying how guns are for idiots, and it's up to the police to protect you. Doesn't matter what any of these boomer fuds say. You have a God-given right, and that's what my book, The Armed Catholic, which comes out August 20th from Sophia Press, talks about, is the fact that you have a God-given right to keep and bear arms, that you are endowed with the ability to protect yourself. Assault ban this, because I am not giving up my guns, and I know most of you are not stupid enough to give up your guns, especially when you've got how many people from around the world coming here, and we have a flood and we have a record number of incidents of migrants trying to break into naval bases and military personnel being murdered or being surveillanced, and then you see migrants in Germany who are stabbing other people. Nah, I ain't giving up nothing, and I know you aren't either. Next up, from the Truth About Guns, from the Reload.com. Vermont governor allows ghost gun ban and gun-free zones to take effect. This is by Jake Fogelman at the Reload.com. Despite questioning their effectiveness, the Republican governor of Vermont, this is the second time he's been mentioned in the show, has given the green light to new gun control measures. Phil Scott, come on down again. You allowed S-209 to become law without his signature on Tuesday. Apparently he just didn't go to work on Tuesday. The bill prohibits the possession and transfers of any unserialized firearm frame or receiver commonly referred to as ghost guns by gun control advocates. It also bans the possession of a firearm at or near a polling place. Quote, while my concerns on the practical impacts and enforceability keep me from signing it, I'm allowing it to go into law because I understand the fears behind the access to quote-unquote untraceable firearms and a respect for the effort to tailor the scope and exemptions, blah, blah, blah. I'm a low-T idiot, and I want to keep my job as the governor of Vermont, and a bunch of you trans hippie morons up there don't like ghost guns. You want to change your gender, but you don't want to be able to have somebody be able to buy a gun and build it, which is part of the foundation that the founders had. They didn't have 4473s in the Revolutionary War. They were like, let me go to the ye old harbor and get a gun. Oh, look, it's serial number 000 Alpha. Here you go, here's your musket. No, they didn't do that. They built them. And so this idea that, untraceable ghost guns, I can't go to my Canon printer and print out a bazooka. You dummies. Seriously, at least not yet. And finally, from the Truth About Guns, ladies and gentlemen, more ATF hijinks. Oklahoma gun dealer pleads guilty. So I talked about this last year on the Daily Mag Dump. This gentleman in Tunscahoma, Oklahoma. Tunscahoma, Alabama. I'm sorry, Tunscahoma, Oklahoma. Sorry, that's the name, Tunscahoma, Oklahoma. The southeast portion. There's a town of like 400 people. There was a guy named, Fincher. Russell Fincher. The ATF swarmed his property, handcuffed him on a deck, and then put a gun to his head, essentially, to surrender his FFL. They seized all of his firearms. So, now he has agreed to the plea agreement of 3 counts with 2 felonies. Because Joe Biden and his ATF has been unleashed on these United States. They're trying to knock down and get rid of all the mom and pop FFLs. And so they can funnel all their gun purchases through Academy and all these other places because big box stores agree with the government when it comes to things like COVID and all other kinds of gun regulations. That's why you need to support Daedalus Tactical and your local gun shop because they're trying to get rid of them. All right, folks. That's our 5+1 gun news here on the Barrett Brief Weekend Edition on the Crusade Radio Network. Car radio giveaways and talk radio the way they should be. All right, I'll talk to y'all next week. You stay safe out there. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.
The Crusade Channel, talk radio the way it should be. Broadcasting live from Madisonville, Louisiana, and streaming 24/7 at crusadechannel.com.